I saw everything. I saw it. First, let's talk about Mickey 17. Robert Pattinson, if you like the dude, you'll enjoy every moment he graces the screen. He has ample opportunity to show off his comedic side, his ability to flip on a dime, and how much he can carry a film, even when it's directed by the Bong Joon-ho, which, per usual, is a satire with a ton of commentary, almost too much, but if you liked Okja, you're bound to appreciate this one. It's not Snowpiercer, and it's obviously not Parasite, but it's a fun, messy outing, and honestly, what better way to follow up the greatest film of all time. 7 out of 10. I have less to say about Queen of the Ring. Emily Bett Rickards shows that she should have been leading films 10 years ago, but this familiar biopic left me wanting a lot more. Everything is to be expected. The central performance is the only thing that caught my attention. Everything else, I feel like I might as well be watching any other film in this genre. I miss Glow. 5.5 out of 10. Steven Soderbergh is back. What's it been? A few months since his last film? This time he delivers a slick, slightly romantic spy thriller with a sharp whodunit plot. The golden-hued cinematography oozes style, and the 90-minute runtime is refreshingly efficient. The performances are top tier, clearly from a group of people who love the genre. The writing is smart, letting you piece things together rather than spoon-feeding every detail. There isn't much action, but the focus on communication, mystery, and emotionally detached relationships keeps things compelling enough that you don't really notice the lack of spectacle. He is my favorite director, so maybe I'm biased, or maybe I'm just relieved to be watching something good after a string of bad movies. 8 out of 10. The big question with movies like these, does it live up to its concept? And yes, it does. It's a cookie-cutter film, but when the premise is this much fun, it's hard to complain. The action ramps up as it goes, kind of like Upgrade, where the concept allows for creative fight choreography and hilariously unique character behavior. Jack Quaid is up for both. He nails the comedic beats and makes the unusual action sequences feel believable. Enough so that you are willing to overlook the skill gap between him and someone like John Wick. The movie is funny, fully committed to its premise, and reaches its ceiling. The only issue? That ceiling isn't very high. 7 out of 10. The newest Looney Tunes movie does a great job of modernizing while maintaining the same shtick that made it so adored. I love a movie that has a plethora of ideas. The pace is so fast from beginning to end, you'd think they'd run out of quirks and quick bits of clever quips that lift up scenes, stale moments, and even keep montages from glazing over your eyes. I just can't believe it's taken this long to get a fully animated, theatrically released Looney Tunes movie from Warner Bros. We should have had like 10 by now. And they made this one for $15 million, which is absurdly low for an animated film. It's an 8 out of 10. Hopefully this kickstarts a resurgence for Looney Tunes on the big screen, because if this has proven anything, it's that it still works. The last one I liked, if you're not a fan of noir, this one probably won't win you over. Even as a fan myself, I struggled at times. The atmosphere is thick with smoke, the screen has a glossy sheen, and every frame is drenched in harsh lighting. This film nails the noir aesthetic, but because it's so focused on the style, the story feels distant and emotional investment is tough. And I know that's a crux for noir as a whole, but it feels more present in this than some of the best representations of the genre. Andre Holland delivers a disciplined and haunting performance, but beyond that, the film feels like a beautiful shell with little inside. It's not bad, but with this level of technical craft, I just wanted so much more. 6 out of 10. First and foremost, I'm not religious, and this movie was clearly made for those who know the story. I don't know the characters, the relationships, or the dynamics, and the movie doesn't offer any of that information. Without real characterization, the movie just feels like moving pieces. And for what's regarded as the greatest story of all time, there's surprisingly little happening until the final act. The movie suffers from low bitrate issues and low resolution. At times, it looks like 480p stock footage. The CGI sticks out, with certain boulders looking hilariously digital. The devil imagery doesn't pass the eye test. The reverberated voice effects feel cheesy. You don't have to know the story to recognize there's no new take here, no nuance, no insight, an uninspired retelling. 2 out of 10. Netflix has imprisoned Millie Bobby Brown, and she cannot escape. $320 million for this. It's a huge budget for a movie that somehow feels completely uneventful. It's weird how the Russo brothers can't make a good movie outside of the MCU. Sorry, I'm struggling to be serious, but it's hard to take this film seriously either. They used AI in its development, which is ironic, not just the robots, but because every attempt at an emotional moment feels soulless. The performances, the writing, even the way the movie is put together. It's just not worth watching. Feels like 2015's Tomorrowland, but without a single charming bone in its body. 3 out of 10. Next up, The Menu. No, wait, blink twice. Oh, sorry. Opus. It's a joy to see John Malkovich and the actors in this film do a lot of work to make it feel somewhat worth your time. We've seen this film before, with clever humor, commitment, and more to say. Opus is just too tame, pointless, and predictable. It's hard to sit through a movie knowing exactly how things are going to go. No more movies inviting people to remote locations with eerie vibes. We're done for like 5 years. 4 out of 10. I could watch 100 horror films starring Samara Weaving and be happy, including this one. I'm not mad, just Disappointed. Borderline had the foundation to be really good, much of that thanks to Ray Nicholson, but it never really commits to fleshing out its concept. By the midpoint, it feels like they've run out of ideas. The dialogue is sharp, and if the setups and horror elements match that level of wit, this review would be a lot more positive. 5 out of 10. Rachel Zegler was superb. Her back must hurt from carrying this film. The movie feels lost. It tries to modernize and stay traditional at the same time, but never fully commits to either. The CGI has already aged poorly, and Gal Gadot's musical numbers were rough to sit through, to say the absolute least. Disney should consider making 3D animated remakes instead of these awkward live-action attempts. My true ask would be for original hand-drawn 2D animation, but I'm realistic. 4.5 out of 10. De Niro plays two roles. One feels like his usual, and the other feels like he's taking from his old scene partner, Joe Pesci. The prosthetics don't look as good as they do on the poster. It's got some charm, especially because Cosmo Jarvis is in it. The movie's not awful, it's just rehashing the genre's most recognizable moments for better or worse. And no, Scorsese didn't direct it, so 5 out of 10. Locked. It's not Buried, it's not 127 Hours, it's not even Lock. It's in the same lane as Phone Booth, but it doesn't hit nearly as hard. There are some solid thrills, and Anthony Hopkins elevates everything he touches. Still, the momentum fades, and the social commentary doesn't land like it wants it to. A decent one-time watch if you haven't seen the films I just named. 5.5 out of 10. Visually imaginative and full of body horror B-movie flair, Ash is just as much a feast for the eyes as it is hard to look at. The action and sci-fi elements are strong, but it leans a bit too heavily on its inspirations. I won't spoil which films those are, but you'll definitely recognize them. It's stylish and fun, even if it lacks originality. 6 out of 10. I'm not going to talk about the elephant in the room. The case is over, you can look it up yourself and make an educated decision on whether you'll see this movie. Jonathan Majors delivers a haunting, all-in performance that saves the entire film. The story is bleak, repetitive, and often hard to watch, but he makes it feel electric. What could have been a repetitive character, he finds a way to bring a new idea each time. Had this gotten a proper release, he might have walked away with an Oscar. 7 out of 10. The assessment. This high-concept sci-fi feels like The Lobster, The One I Love, and Ex Machina. Not quite as strong, but close. It's bizarre, oddly comedic, and uncomfortably intimate. The performances sell the whole world, and Alicia Vikander thrives in this genre. Indie sci-fi fans will find a lot to like here. 7.5 out of 10. First up for this weekend, The Babadook. A Babadook-style horror film that has you rolling your eyes at the symbolism rather than vibing with it. I mean, woman be in the yard for half the movie's runtime. It's pretty boring. The VFX is pretty sick, but I never felt like they took the set pieces as far as they should have. It thinks it's deep, but it's just dull. 5 out of 10. A Working Man, the same director-actor duo as The Beekeeper, but this one doesn't have any of that film's absurd fun or energy. There's no self-aware humor, no escalating stakes, and definitely no wild action. Just a straight-laced Statham flick. Still, it's Jason Statham doing his thing, and sometimes that's enough. Nothing new, but a decent time. 5.5 out of 10. I've heard nothing but disappointment about this one, but honestly, it's not bad. It doesn't dig deep with its themes, but as a creature feature, it delivers. Think Cocaine Bear with unicorns, but a bit more style. The social commentary feels half-baked, but it is gory, it's weird, and Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega carry it with ease. 6 out of 10 for me. Lastly, there's Bob Trevino Likes It, the best film from this weekend. This one hits me hard. I was crying alone in the theater. Barbie Ferreira captures the emotional weight of trauma, identity, and longing in a way that feels painfully real, especially for anyone navigating the fog of depression or strained family ties. It's not just powerful because it's true, it's powerful because it's told with care, vulnerability, and clarity. A quiet, beautiful film about what it means to be seen and to choose connection, even when it's hard. 8.5 out of 10. Only movie I didn't see was Penguin Lessons, and that's because I saw My Penguin Friend last year. I'm just not feeling it. Is this the same type of penguin? Anyway, that's my tier list for March. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.